My name is John Powell, and I'm a Japanese garden builder, craftsman. So basically, that path sort of defined two distinct spaces in the central area. Design-wise, I mean, the site was defined. We had the long rectangular space on one side of the entry path, and then the more sort of square space that there was a flagstone path that meandered through it. So it was actually the flagstone path was the only thing that remains from the original garden that was there. Partly because it's integral to the entry walk as well, but I also like the movement of it and kind of looked at it as like a river snaking through. Seeing everybody grow in 4 days in like confidence, and to see everybody sort of enjoy being a part of the project. And it was a lot of work too. So I mean, I think everybody was probably pretty sore every morning coming in, you know. And, so that really takes some level of dedication to get up and go do it again. But it takes the cooperation of a lot of people. The dean of this college and the director here at the center had to be on board. The landscape department, Don Anderson and her group, they were huge. And then a little outside help with the guys that have been contracted to mow on campus that really got into it. And then I think the Shiodas reached out to people around with gardening interests to come and volunteer. Some were here for the entire 4 days, some for just parts of it, but I mean, without them, we wouldn't have been able to execute at the level that we did. In my mind, there was a potential that perhaps I couldn't complete it in 4 days, but after the second day, I sort of realized that we're going to make it, and I can do a little more. Having my right-hand guy, Josh Demers, who I work with over at Brookside Gardens, is key. I mean, was in every minute. I mean, you only saw us the 8 or 10 hours we were out there each day, but after that we were making the rakes to rake the gravel, or going to get materials that we need for the next day. So it's a pretty intense few days. And then I'm happy with the results. I mean, I like the stones. I like the idea of repurposing an art exhibit of bamboo poles that were apparently harvested somewhere in Maryland, and then giving them like a new life in this this sort of woven fence that we put together. The design process is really focused on a relationship between the client's wishes, the site, the nature of the site, and then the availability and the quality of the materials. And so once you sort of understand that, there's a balance that's created. With this gravel spread out there, we essentially then have this gravel sea. So my idea was then just to create some evocative stone arrangements to not just to fill the space, but to highlight the guests moving through the garden to the front door, and from the fixed location inside the building, looking back out, that would be aesthetically pleasing. While the stones are inanimate objects, we treat them like they're a living part of the garden. I mean, you can see we were very careful with the way we apply the slings. We don't want to scratch them up. They're actually planted in the ground, and so they have parts just like we do. I hope that everybody that looks at the garden has some sort of experience. It doesn't have to be a super deep experience, but I hope that there's some appreciation, and that it's it wouldn't be too hard if you were coming into the building every day and seeing all of this work going on and everybody focused on this project, that you would realize that somebody put a lot of effort into that, and it wouldn't hurt me to be respectful of that effort.